Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
Hello, this is Josh McCown from Renault Winery Resort, and we have a very important announcement from Matt Sorensen about Learn and Grow, August 24th. Take it away, Matt.
I'm Matt Sorensen from Directed IRA. I'm excited to be the keynote speaker at the Learn and Grow event for Accountable Equity on August 23rd and 24th. Got to book your tickets and get registered. I'm excited to be there and to meet you in person.
Here's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I can do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our life, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Welcome back to the big show. John, it's been a big podcast day. Cannot wait to dig in on this show.
Oh, man. Guys, we have Keir Weimer on this show. This is top 5, one of the most powerful shows that Josh and I have done.
Yep.
He shares a story that is so vulnerable, is so transparent. I don't want to give any of it away because you have to hear it through his words.
Yeah, life-changing tragedies, right? Those types of things happen to us, or do they happen for us? How can we respond when that is the situation? You have to embrace reality. So he's going to help us to learn from his lessons into our lives. And then he digs deep into a topic that I love, which is hospitality. And he sees what we see, which is there is a great opportunity to acquire these unique hospitality assets. He does his in a really cool way, similar to what we do in our cool way. And I think we geek out a little bit, right, John?
We do. Guys, you're going to love this show.
John, I can't wait to get this. This is going to be a hospitality, kind of a geek out fest for me. So I'm excited to get it started.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear the questions that you asked because, you know, I'm newer to the hospitality game here. Excited to be part of your team, Josh, but knowing to get Keir and Josh together on a podcast, it is gonna go geek out for sure. So without further ado, Keir Weimer, dude. First of all, thank you for your friendship. Really appreciate you, the time we've spent together. Looking forward to kicking your butt in cornhole.
Bring it. Let's go
shortly. But without further ado, please give us a little bit about your background, maybe some of your upbringing, and where you're at today.
Sure. Yeah, thank you guys for having me here. Excited for the conversation. Would love to, connect and add whatever value I can in my story to your audience. So I grew up in Central New York. I have a younger brother, 5 years my junior. He's got 3 kids, currently resides in Virginia Beach. Both of my parents were academics, instilled at a very early age a love of learning, of reading, of travel, of exploration. And I actually attribute a lot of that to the inception story of what eventually became Weekender, the brand that we'll chat about at some point in this call that I'm really passionate about what we're building. And by all stretches, I had a really good childhood, great upbringing. I was a pain in the ass, I'm told. I was hard to manage and punish. I got into a lot of trouble with parents at school, but I seemed to always have a commitment to academics, to sports, and to a vision greater than where I currently was in life, meaning I was always ambitious. I don't know what drove that, but I always wanted something big from life, right? Didn't know what it was, didn't know how I'd get there, but I just knew I wanted something big. So I went to school for business, right? Like, where do you start? Oh, maybe you study business. And I went to Syracuse University for my baccalaureate, studied finance, economics, and entrepreneurship. And I ended up starting a painting company while all my friends were rushing the Greek system freshman year. I decided, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and start a painting company. So I bought the franchise rights with the little money I had to a company called College Pro Painters, a franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, proceeded to hire 12 of my friends that didn't know a damn thing about painting. We formed 3 crews. We painted 55 houses. We made no money till August when I laid off 2/3 of them, bought some sprayers, and finally understood business and productivity. But it was a good lesson in that business is hard, but it's exciting. I saw opportunity, but I saw a big learning curve. So I kind of doubled down on that and just started to realize that the path I wanted was a path maybe a little bit atypical or different. It wasn't the one my parents had. It wasn't the one that my teachers told me I should go on. It wasn't one that my friends were doing, but it was one that seemed uniquely appropriate for me, which was just find your own path, be an entrepreneur and create something. And that's kind of what I set out to do.
Love it. Love it. And then going through from college, where did you go from there?
Yeah. So if we fast forward to my senior year in college, I was nearing completion. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do now with this schooling, this experience, this ambition. And unfortunately, the universe had a different plan. And that summer, right before graduation, I ended up getting into a boating accident in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. I was driving. I was with 5 of my friends. We'd gone out to a local restaurant and bar on the water, listened to some music, had been drinking, and I thought I was the best of all of us to get us home safely. Turns out I wasn't. We hit a small state island in the middle of the lake, and in the matter of 4 seconds, my friend was no longer with us, and all my other friends were seriously injured and hospitalized. It was probably easily the most gruesome, horrific scene that I can imagine. I'm not going to go into detail, but suffice it to say, it was an absolute nightmare, from a seemingly innocent night of just college kids hanging out to completely changed forever and somebody no longer with us. As a result of that, I was charged with numerous felonies. I was on bail for a year. I was suspended immediately from college, and I was facing up to 15 years in New York State prison as I went through the court system in New York. The night before trial, I decided to plead guilty to the original charge and spare my friend's family from a trial and revisiting and reliving all of these painful memories. And also because I knew I was guilty of what I was charged with, which was operating a vessel under the influence of alcohol at a speed that was not appropriate for the evening hours. I was sentenced to 2 to 6 years, and I ended up serving just under 4 years. And I was whisked away in, cuffs from my family and my freedom and my identity. And I turned into, 07A 6490, a number in the New York State system. And, as a kid coming from, kind of rural central New York with no tools, emotionally or otherwise, to deal with this harsh environment and how to live and survive and move daily, surrounded by people in for murder and rape and child offenses and all kinds of things. And it was a quick growing up for me. It was a quick, maturing. It was a quick, wow, this is the reality I'm in. And I now have to figure out how to live and how to try to make sense of what I did, what I'm responsible for, and how to move forward. And it took me, guys, about a year of long nights of introspection, of state-sponsored rehab, and just being with myself in there, away from my life, for me to actually realize kind of the totality of what happened.
Yeah.
And wow, the weight of my friend no longer here. And I was actually responsible for that. And that all the stories that my friends and my family and myself had been telling myself, which was, could have happened to anybody. It was an accident. You didn't mean it. All that stuff, while maybe it was true, it wasn't allowing me to come to terms with my guilt, and wasn't allowing me to forgive myself and move on and take responsibility and accountability for it. So when I finally did and realized that no other reason am I here other than myself, right? No other reason is my friend no longer with us other than myself and my actions. Finally, when that happened and I took responsibility, it's like this weight kind of lifted. And it was like one of those on the knees moments. And then every day after that, it was like, oh my God, I started to turn a corner, right? I started to see, hey, I have a chance now. There's a fork in the road, and I can either choose the left side and make this horrible tragedy claim 2 lives, or I can choose the right side of the road and find a way to get better and get healthier and find sobriety and find purpose and meaning. And then when I get released, make something of myself in my life. So I'm grateful that I chose the latter and the right fork. And every day since that day has been just one day closer to that, right? Of getting better, of growing, of making the next right decision, of living, now 17 years clean and sober, right? Building a life that I'm proud of and contributing to society and providing a place where people can fulfill their own dreams, right? And have a livelihood and give back in a way that I never could. That's been really gratifying and has been helpful in this kind of journey to finding some kind of redemption or meaning in this tragedy.
Wow. I mean, in your transparency and authenticity through that story, Keir, can also transform other people by hearing it, because that wasn't the end of your story, and what I was hearing was, once you became and used that extreme accountability, it provided a lot of clarity for you in your life.
A ton. I mean, I I was making up excuses, right? I was blaming the world. I was blaming circumstances. I was blaming everything but myself. And I think that lesson that I think a lot of us have really a hard time and we struggle with, which is like, at the end of the day, we're like the only ones that are responsible for our fate. Doesn't mean that there are things outside of our control. Doesn't mean that the world gives us things and challenges and struggles. It doesn't mean that we're constantly tested. And it doesn't mean we have seasons of extreme low and or tragedy where I fell to the lowest bottom in life. But like, you can't really realize your full potential to live right your vision for life and contribute and find meaning until you realize that like you're the only one that you got to answer to, right? And like you're the only one that can actually be accountable for the results and the things that you put out in this world. I think that's such a foundational lesson that a lot of people struggle with. It took me 24 or 25 years of my young life to like understand that concept, but it's been so liberating since understanding that concept.
Yeah, I just am honored. I think we're all honored to share into that life. I feel like, it's like moments like this allow us to almost experience what you did a great job articulating. I think we all felt that gut wrenching, a bit of it, a piece of your story has changed us. So thank you very much. I mean, by the way, those dark lakes at night and one of those islands, it's such a tragedy on every level. But those areas of New York are so, they're otherworldly. They're like, I feel like you're in a movie all the time when you're up there. So something so beautiful became so tragic that night. So,
yeah,
I want to talk to you a little bit about business too, though, so you get done your time there.
Yep.
You come out. How did you choose a path, a career? What path did you choose, by the way, at first?
So this is an interesting story. So I hit a lot of, I would call like walls, right? Or roadblocks that I had to find my way through and not around or over. First was obviously getting sentenced, right? What am I going to do now? I'm 4 years, got to figure out a way to make the best of it. It took me a year to get my mind right and then make the best of the next 3 years by reading, over 200 books, writing my first book, getting as healthy as possible, working out every day, getting mature and strong, psychologically, physically, and emotionally. And then the next wall I encountered was getting denied parole. When I thought I had a chance to go home early because of good behavior, the state of New York thought otherwise. So that was another wall that I had to work through, not around or over. And the next wall came when I was released back into society to my parents' custody. I'm on parole, completely broke, living at home, no license, curfew, getting drug tested, broke, no chance of getting a job, big scarlet letter on my back. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be tough. There's the next wall. There's the next test. What do you do? I said, all right, well, I need to finish my degree. So I reapplied for Syracuse because they had suspended me. They let me back in. I finished my 5 classes, graduated that fall with my bachelor's. I was like, okay, that's a little bit of confidence building, one step forward. Then I thought my next best way to integrate to society as a convicted felon was to go back to school again. So I actually applied to, I think, 7 law and business school dual JD MBA programs. That summer of 2000, I think it was 2012 or 13, I'm sitting at home and I'm reading the last of 7 denial letters. So not one school let me in, making the accident, my turnaround, and my goals for the future the central part of my application. Not one school or admissions committee wanted to give me a second chance. That was really tough. That was another huge wall of, demoralizing, defeating.
Yeah.
Well, crap, what am I going to do now? I'm 30 years old. I'm, again, still broke, still living at home, still curfew, still getting drug tested, still scarlet letter, no job, and now all these denial letters. So it took me a day or two to get out of the funk of that. But then I was like, okay, get it together. You can do something with your life. What is it going to be? I said, okay, I've always liked real estate. Didn't know how to get into real estate and went to school for business. Maybe it's a good idea to just get licensed and go sell some real estate as an agent and figure out contracts and markets and people and just start from the ground up. So I got online. I applied for the certificate of relief. So I got the bar that was preventing me from having an occupational license lifted. I then took the online course of 75 hours and then got licensed. And then I proceeded to spend a year busting my tail with no license, broke, no job, no income, and $40,000 in debt now, trying to build a real estate practice with not one sale in my first 12 months. So
wow.
Picture that, right? Another huge
Oh,
wall.
that hurts. That hurts.
Oh my God, the world's like flashing red lights, dude. And, my family's like, hey, maybe you should go get a real job. Like, you need to start making money. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm freaking trying. Nobody will hire me. And it was another huge wall where it was like this theme of not giving up on myself and seeing enough around the corner to have conviction that I'm going to make this all work out was like so comforting. So I didn't give up, even though I was on the 5-yard line and I almost did and I wanted to. I didn't. The 13th month, my first property sold. It was a $2 million waterfront hotel in the Adirondacks, and I got a commission check for like $48,000. Yeah, I was like, holy crap. And I had never filed a tax return before. Then the next one sold, then the next one. Then my second full year, I was literally the top of my office. Third full year, I started a team. And then the fourth year, I got audited by the IRS because they're like, how do you go from zero to, 700,000 income or whatever it was? And it was like, oh my God, like you stayed the course and you figured it out and you didn't give up on yourself, kind of through line in my life. So that for me was very, very reassuring. It was like confidence building that like sometimes you just got to stay the course. And the people that give up are the ones that are like an inch before they hit that, ore of gold, if you will, or before they hit that point of inflection. Yeah. For me, it took a lot of walls, not going around or through, like I've said, but, or around or over, but going through them and not giving up to finally get there. So that was huge, guys. And then there's a series of different things and businesses and obstacles that, happened in the interim. I'm happy to touch on at a high level that got me to where I am today.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com. You can fill out the contact form. We'll get right back to you and see if this is a great fit for you and your family. We'd love to meet you. We look forward to learning about you. Please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, this is Matt Sorensen, author of the Self-Directed IRA Handbook, CEO at Directed IRA. You're listening to the best podcast, the Capital Hacking Podcast.
Well, you did a great job explaining that the perseverance it must have taken. Now, one curious thing is you got right into commercial real estate, not residential.
Well, I was doing both, Josh. I was actually a little more luxury residential in the Adirondacks, second, third homes. And then 20% of the practice was businesses and hotels.
Yeah. That's, first of all, great idea because now you have seen. So for those who don't know, when you sell a business or a commercial property like that, you end up having to really talk about the operating business and the financials to prospective investor buyers. And I imagine it's like getting an MBA in a lot of different small businesses because you're basically studying their business in order to sell their building in real estate. So that definitely kind of probably catapult, to where you are today. So today you're the founder of Weekender Hotels. Yep. I have to admit, I'm very, very impressed and grateful to have this call because your properties look so much fun. And that seems to be central. You shared before we got on the call that a lot of what you do is seems like there's a design element and then there's a curation of experiences element. Can you kind of dive into the philosophy about that?
Sure, yeah. And, Josh, what really inspired me to start Weekender was part market opportunity in COVID, seeing people prioritizing independent brands, the great outdoors and experiences more than they ever had. It was part seeing what I had done successfully at one resort that I had bought in 2015 when I was the listing broker on it and I couldn't find a buyer for 2 years. So I recused myself as listing broker and became the buyer, bought it, recruited 2 friends as operators, totally renovated everything. 3 kids, 33 with not a lick of experience in hospitality or restaurant, resort management. And we just made it work and we figured it out. And then all these years went by, right? COVID hit. And I was like, hold on a second. Now what we're doing at this one lakeside resort in the Adirondacks, I think is like brandable and scalable. So we started Weekender in 2021. And the idea really, our mission is to inspire personal growth through adventure travel, through connecting people to amazing outdoor experiences, to the great outdoors, to nature and to themselves in a really cool and interesting way.
So beautiful.
And so we provide settings and to do that. We provide curated experiences to do that. We provide facilitation to do that. And we try to inspire people to, again, reconnect with themselves and with the great outdoors around them. For me, it was such an important part of growing up. I am so grateful for the experience I had in the Adirondacks that my parents gave me, going to summer camp, learning how to, make a fire with no matches, learning how to fend for myself in the woods, learning how to just learn about myself and life through the great outdoors and through survival and through nature that I wanted to find a way to be a host and a guide in my professional life. So it's all these stops, all these things came together to really, infuse the ethos of Weekender. And it's very much an extension of me and my personal values and vision.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I think tell us a little bit about the properties and maybe give us a case study of the most recent one you bought.
Sure. So yeah,
Where are they?
we're 3 years old now. We're in 4 states, predominantly in upstate New York and the Adirondack Park. We're also in southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire, and now the Berkshires, western Massachusetts. We're moving down into the Catskills now, and eventually in the Mid-Atlantic, and then eventually out west to other parts of the region of the U.S., and then eventually internationally. We employ about 90 people now across 9 properties. We have about, 250 keys in the portfolio now, so average is 30 to 40. We're looking at bigger properties now. We have 2 right now that will probably close in the coming 2 months. We've closed 2 this year, and we have 2 renovations wrapping up. So we're constantly kind of trying to balance acquiring, renovating, launching, not overstressing ops team, and making it happen in a way that meets with some of our seasonality of our business. So our high is right now until end of October. So we're very, very busy right now on just operating our properties and delivering great guest experiences while we're tying up these 2 renos. And then we'll be renovating the 2 new ones in the fall when we get a little quieter after October, November. Then we ramp back up for winter. We're really busy from Christmas until April. And then we're a little quieter in that off-season spring, April to May. So a good case study. We've got a couple of, I would call it full case or full asset kind of cycles. The first is the one I mentioned to you. Do you want me to go over a number?
No, actually, just like the last deal you bought, actually would be more interesting. Who was the seller? What was it like negotiating the purchase, and what did the property look like?
Yeah. So we have one right now that's a little atypical, but it's a cool real world case study, which is the Berkshires one. So we bought it. We don't actually own it yet. We are currently in a management agreement. We took over management last week with a binding purchase agreement that is getting executed in the next few days, and we'll be closing on it in the next 2 months. But she didn't want to operate it anymore for the summer. We didn't want to lose the summer revenue, so it's a win-win.
That is great.
Yeah, she actually has 2 TV shows on motel renovations on Magnolia Network. She's an interior designer by trade. She lives in LA, but she doesn't want to operate really. So it was just a natural marriage. We're really good at operating and renovating. So yeah, that's a cool one. It was 1.7 purchase price, 23 already renovated rooms, and another 12 down to the studs ready to renovate and bring online for a total of about 35 rooms on about 8 acres in a really strong area in the Berkshires near the best ski mountain, 5 minutes away, Chimney Peak, near a lot of the art centers and the outdoor activities that bring out of Boston and New York City to Western Massachusetts.
I have one more question on this. So you're really picking up speed. Talk to me about your senior staff. How many do you have and where do you have them as far as key roles? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we're pretty nimble guys on core team. We've not raised any outside capital for OpCo, Weekender. It's closely held. It's an S corp that single member myself owns. It manages all the properties, and then on a couple of the properties, we have investors on the holding company level, but not the operating company. So with the 90 employees that Weekender as a whole employs, I would say about 7 to 8 are full-time corporate center office that support the entire portfolio, from director of revenue to director of finance, director of ops, sales, a little bit of marketing, outside agency, outside accounting, that are solutions that we contract for that helps us. And then director of facilities that manages all of our maintenance and renovation programs. So yeah, that's the core team that supports the brand. And then in the field, we have general managers that are the salaried full-time, almost always living on property in a cabin or an autonomous living area. So it provides really good guest experience, ability to be there in emergencies, just always having presence. They're salaried GMs, and then they manage a staff of supervisors and hourly housekeeping maintenance below them at the hotel level. So that's kind of how we're structured.
That's really, really smart. And what is the future 5 years from now? What does the portfolio look like?
Yeah, great question, Josh. We're trying to gear up so that we can comfortably do 4 to 5 deals a year, a couple hundred, let's say 200 to 300 new keys a year. So that's going to take a lot of investment in process and technology, which we're doing this year. and in personnel, right people, right seats. We're also about 6 months into EOS as a framework and an operating system to help us grow and to do it in a reliable, predictable way. That's been really
We love it.
our leadership team. We're investing about $300,000 in technology overhaul for our 2.0 tech stack, from PMS to RMS to CRS to all the other acronyms to manage, vertically held hospitality company. And we're very vertically integrated. We manage all the acquisitions, renovations, and long-term property management in-house. We don't really outsource core functions. We believe in being really close to our guests and really understanding their needs, their desires, their preferences.
Well done, buddy. John, thank you for this introduction to the world for Weekender. I can't wait to visit one of these.
So I've stayed very, very quiet. I know we're winding down in a minute, but I wanted you to geek out a bit, Josh, and ask all these questions, and I knew you two would become friends, if not best friends, rapidly.
I think fast friends, that's definitely.
But Keir, I was curious about, because I visited one of your hotels is very cool, and you have all these you were putting out like campfires, I think, and all kinds of like little activities, and then you were creating like these experiences with like biking through the woods, and I think there was some other stuff you were putting together, and then you were talking about putting Airstreams also. What are the different levels at each property that people can like go and experience?
Yeah, so we have, I would say, we're kind of like, I guess you would call us, if you're going to use the traditional categorization of hotel operators, we'd be like upper mid-scale, if you will, but we're independent and we're very approachable for a lot of the market, meaning our average daily rates are low to mid 200s. So a lot of people can afford our properties, but high season weekend cabins are, 700-800 a night. Certain rooms or suites are, 500 a night, but off season, we might be 170 a night, right, for a room. So seasonality and then floor plan stratification, so we can appeal to a lot of different types of families, groups, people, and budgets is really important. So we also don't want to, at the expense of confusing the market, have too many, because some operators have 15 or 20 floor plans and it's a nightmare from inventory management. So we are now in the process of migrating to a simpler system where we have about 6 to 7 floor plans per property that would start with, more entry level kind of queen rooms to double queen to king to deluxe king to cabins. And then eventually we're going to have these kind of modern mini homes and glamping and off-road or not off-road, overland RV and or Airstream solution sites at some of the properties. So yeah, we're trying to provide different options for different budgets and different people.
I love it. You got anything else there, Josh?
No, it's an honor. I'm excited about this, man. How can everybody reach back out to you or learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, would love to connect with anybody. Best way is probably just my email. I'll give company emails, just Keir, Keir, at weekenderhotels.com, WEEKENDER hotels.com. So Keir at weekenderhotels.com.
We love this. We love this, and I know it got captured there. There's a little hiccup, but I think it all gets recorded on your computer. So it's an awesome treat for us today, and thank you for starting with the heartfelt, life-changing kind of story, and then ending with this awesome. Like, I think everybody wants to book a couple nights at the places and enjoy the great outdoors.
Yeah, we'd love to connect with anybody, and happy to chat more about what we're doing or host anybody. And again, to leave it with this is, it's amazing what we're really capable of as humans, right? When we don't give up on ourselves and we have a big vision for life, even if we encounter some really horrible woes and some really tough tragedies. I think, that for me has been probably the thing that's carried me through the most, which is a kind of a relentless commitment to that vision, a willingness to persevere and to not get my hands dirty and to just not give up on myself and on the future and a vision for something bigger.
Thank you, sir.
Love it. Thank you, Keir.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, John, for having me.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show, and everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.